Inclusive, a gente está aqui com a escritora Laura Kate, escritora de Holland, e a gente vai fazer algumas perguntinhas para ela. Hello, Laura. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So we want to know, how did you decide to be a writer?
I think I've been writing for as long as I can remember. I always wrote when I was a little kid, everything. Stories, plays, songs, fiction, poetry, whatever it was. That's sort of the way my friends and I would play. I think around the time I was in high school, it was about 16 or 17, I started to realize I was the best and most interested in short stories and fiction. And by the time I got to college, I started writing my first novel. So it's always been somewhere in my plans, but it wasn't until probably I was 21 or 22 that I knew that the only thing I wanted to do with myself was write novels. After that, I worked at a publishing house, the editorial side for about 5 years to kind of learn how books are made. Yeah, I loved it. And I thought, for a while I thought I would never leave. But eventually I decided I needed to focus on my books instead of other people's books. And I left and I started working on the Fallen series. And it's kind of a dream come true to be in Brazil now promoting it.
And why talk about Fallen Angels?
What drew me to Fallen Angels? It was kind of a reversal. I started out wanting to write a love story. I came across this reference in the Bible that talks about angels who looked down from heaven, saw mortal women, thought they were beautiful, and gave up their place in heaven for that love. And at the time, I was writing another love story, but it felt really small to me. It was only about the two lovers. It wasn't about anyone else in the world or the world at large, or it didn't have the kind of implications that a big love story should. When I read that line, I thought, this is a love story that could change the world. The world within the book could be revolutionized by this love, and that was really powerful for me. And so I started thinking about who Cinder had to be, where she came from, what possessed this angel to fall in love with her, and that led me into a world of angels. I didn't know anything about angels before I started writing this, so I kind of delved into angelology, figured out what my own mythology was for this world, and now I'm very deeply in love with angels, but before I started writing these books, it was only the beginning.
And the last book, Passion, Luz traveled to many places, and for you to know these places, to write about them, you said that you had a literary trip.
Yes.
Can you talk about this trip and what you learned with it?
Sure. I find setting to be a very comforting presence in the book. It does a lot of grounding work. It tells you things about the characters that the characters can't tell you themselves. And so it's always very important for me when I'm writing to have a deep, deeply pervasive setting, a setting that suggests a lot of things about the story. And so one of the most important things about Passion was thinking, I'm just going to be settling into this one setting, and then they're going to do somewhere completely different. They're going to reinvent themselves and re-understand the world around them, and everything's going to change all the time. And that was going to be a really scary thing as a writer. And so I turned to a lot of my favorite novels, and I saw the beautiful, quick things that could be done with setting. And in some cases, I've got so close to those books. For example, when Luz is in Milan and Daniel's in the hospital, she's his nurse. It was completely inspired by Farewell Arms by Hemingway. And I saw the beauty of this hospital setting and used that inspiration to turn it into my own world. So over and over again, I found myself, instead of cracking open a history book, I would crack open my favorite novel and go back to it and figure out a way to bring it into the world of my stories.
How do you create a character similar to your husband? He's not into the main character.
Yeah. I don't know that I intended to do that. Now it sounds so funny when I say my husband is the devil. But to me, Cam began as one of the most interesting characters, and I wasn't expecting to fall in love with him, but I did. Obviously, my husband fell in love with that character. And so Cam's role in the story has changed a lot from Fallen. In Fallen, he was just sort of this fascinating bad guy, but he was the bad guy. And by now, I realized that Cam is, he's he's an oppositional force in the series. He gives a lot of people a lot of problems, but he is much more complex than just being a bad guy. So he's got a backstory of his own. He's got a history that led him to be the way he is, and I realize now that because I care so deeply about him, I've got to do his character justice. And you know, Daniel's character, I get asked a lot who Daniel is based on. He must be based on someone real because he's so, you know, he does so much in the books. But really, for me, Daniel's character is based on Lucy's character. He grew out of who Lucy was. He is supposed to represent her perfect match, and so he fits her like a puzzle piece. And that's how I figured out the shape of Daniel, just understanding the shape of Lucy and how she changes. Daniel changes to fit in with her all the way.
And you told in another interview that you were interested to write about other characters. Can you talk about it later?
Sure. I mean, I think that this is the way a novelist's brain works. You don't just drop a character in somewhere and have her say a few lines and then forget about her. You're always wondering, well, why did she say that? And why did she get quiet when that moment happened? And why did she raise her eyebrow when someone said this? And a lot of these little clues, I realize I've left for myself without knowing I was doing it. And sometimes when I go back and reread the books, like rereading Torment, and I think about the way that Arian was at this moment, it strikes a chord, and I realize there's something below it. And I think that, you know, Lucy and Daniel's love story it's an emblematic, aspirational, really beautiful and strange kind of love. But it's only one kind of love. There are all these different kinds of love. Obviously, there's a love between friends that grows into something more. There's private love. And yeah, I think that the other characters might have different kinds of love stories that I'm not sure how to work out that yet, but I know that Arian has one. I know that Roland has one. I know that Miles has one. So I'm thinking on that.
And this is the second time you come to Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
This feeling of coming back.
It's incredible. I came here for my honeymoon, so I was here just 2 years ago, and my husband and I went to Rio, we went to Salvador, Buzios, and Boqueba. And every city that we visited was so different, and each one of them we wanted to come back to. And there were more cities all the time that we knew we wanted to come and visit. And when I was here, Colin had just sold to my publisher in the States, and I remember talking to someone in Rio, and he said, "Oh, you're a writer. Are your books going to be translated into Portuguese? Are they going to be coming out of Brazil?" And I laughed, and I said, "Yeah, that will never happen. Yeah, right." And it's just so amazing to be here, not just back in this country that I wanted to come back to, but to be here and get to share the book and share the series with all the people who are here.
Well, thank you very much for your interview.
Sure, thank you very much.
Do you want to say something for our readers via our magazine?
Definitely. Hi, Revista innovative readers. I'm Lauren Kate. Have you fallen yet? Thanks for reading my series.